Hello everyone, this time I'm coming at you from France, actually the middle of France. It's a small town, there's a small town called Lapalisse, and every second year they're holding a huge car show, which is actually a real traffic jam. The car show cannot be just a car show, it has to be a French style car show, so they made it a traffic jam. This traffic jam is a revival of the old traffic jam what happened in the 50s and the 60s before the freeway and the bypass road was built. So they're inviting all these old cars, they go out to several little satellite little villages, and in the morning on day 2 on Saturday they coming in and they will arrive at a different times, and therefore hence creating a traffic jam from all these cars in that little town of Lapalisse. I have 2 other parts of this, so I leave a link in the description. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, please consider watching it. The whole city is closed down, so we parked way far out, and then here's a little Renault collection here, as you can see, and then the main street is basically right in front of us, and then the traffic jam has started already, so we're gonna go look at that as well. Here's an original bakery, an original French bakery, so I think this is gonna be a good advantage point to stop and look at the cars pass by. The traffic jam is really long, as you guys see it. All kind of people coming. You will see that many people dressing up in period correct attire or clothes, and you're gonna see a lot of different vehicles, which most of us who live in the US will never probably see at all. And then there are some which are actually American cars, and you're gonna see some British and Italian cars as well. People are coming from all over the area, and Italy is not all that particularly far, so that's why you're gonna see a couple of them actually coming from Italy, and they have all the Italian license plates. This traffic jam is held every second year, so this is it was hard for me to make it here, but this year it happened, so I'm really excited to be here and I'm able to show you guys all these cars passing by. There was a time in the US history when actually French cars were imported to the US, but then when the bumper law and all this emission law came about, then they actually just stopped exporting them. You can still buy them in Mexico and maybe in Canada, but as you see there's a nice Chrysler. Yeah, and the American cars are kind of popular here too. You're gonna see a couple of nice American cars as well. This is the main street of this little French town, and then it's gonna end up in a bridge, and the bridge goes over a nice little river, and then it's gonna make a right turn right in front of the castle. And inside the castle there are some interesting things as well. We'll go up there later. Please remember, this is a 3-day event. It starts on Friday, this is Saturday, and then there is a Sunday part too. And unfortunately I missed the Sunday part because I had to start heading back to Kentucky. I rented a car and then in Paris, and then I drove it here. This is probably a good 5 or 6 hour drive, so I have to start making my way back on Sunday. You can pretty much come with any kind of vehicle. You can come with commercial trucks or bicycles, motorcycles, trucks, or pretty much anything but robots. You're gonna see quite a few Citroën DS's like this one just passing by. They have a very elaborate hydraulic suspension, and you can adjust the ride height on it. Also, with hydraulic means you can change the tires, so basically you raise up the vehicle, put a block underneath and raise the car on the block, and it will suck the wheel up and you're gonna able to change the tires. Here's a nice example of a station wagon. I think one time I seen one in New Orleans, and I think there's quite a few of them in the US what you can buy, but you need to be a really good mechanic to keep them up. Other than that, it's probably a good car. I'm not sure what's wrong with that bride up there on that car, but looks like we are witnessing a wedding. I don't know if it's a real one or not, but sure he or she is waving out, and then there's quite a popular following coming behind the wedding party. Honestly, I don't know too much about French cars. I know this one is a traction avant. I don't know how to pronounce it right, but it's a front-wheel drive vehicle, and they made it for a very long time, from the mid-30s to all the way up to the 50s. And it's a very popular vehicle. I think it's very usable also, and you can still buy a lot of parts for it. Seems like we're gonna see a bunch of military vehicles as well. In World War II era, there was a lot of American and French military presence around here. So I guess that's probably why some people are collecting those. And we'll look at this one, 59 Cadillac. That was somewhat unexpected and out of place, so to speak. Look at the contrast between this French car just passed in front of us. I think it was a Simca, and then this Cadillac with the gigantic fins. I totally understand why is that roof not open, because it may or may not gonna rain soon, and it's a little bit cold. But this is how Lapalisse is held. It's always at the end of the year when it's not that warm anymore. With convertible Lincoln as well. I think it's a 61. So many years I've seen footage where it was raining. It's basically the rain is about thinking of raining or not. We'll see how it happens. But so far it's really good weather, and it's really happening the old cars so they don't overheat. Sign in front of this blue van is a Renault commercial van. I really got to like the Citroën vans with the corrugated sides. This is a Duck, Citroën Duck, and I think that one is the Renault as well. And you can see a lot of motorcycles and small displacement scooters running around with all kind of attachments. Oh, here comes an Italian car, and I think in part one we seen a gigantic dog in the trunk of it, and that dog was so well behaved. It was a very, very cute dog. I really appreciate when you guys write me comments. And a Dutch woman who lives in France, Renette, she told me that this one is a Simca Chambord. It had a V8 engine, the 2.3 liter. That's a very tiny little V8, and it was a flathead V8 based on the Ford. Apparently they made it for the American market. So Renee, thank you very much for writing me those details of these cars. She also wrote me the details between the difference between the Citroën E-Day and the DS. Looks like the E-Day was a cheaper model of the DS. So I finally did a little research, so now finally I think I can distinguish the two type of Citroëns now. Ooh, this three-wheeler is the perfect vehicle for this show. And then I like that one. This is perfect. I really want to build one of those things. I have a Model T version of that, but it's a long ways from getting it done. See, here's a British car. There are a few of them. Here's this little Citroën 2CV. The only thing I know about it is that this has 2 cylinders, front wheel drive, and it's got torsion bar suspension, and you never can flip it over. Another military vehicle, and many more bicycles and motorcycles. Time to stop for a croissant or something in the bakery. So these biker guys, the French biker gang has arrived. comes a little Vespa car. I know there is one in Lexington. I seen that car in the Concours d'Elegance at the Kinland Concord. He was not a participant, but they just came as a visitor, and outside I was able to see that little car. I remember these ones. These were manufactured in Romania as well, very long time ago. Go out to a car show in the US, the only cars I see is either a Ford, Chevy, or Chrysler, and then the variations of those three. And I can't see anything like this, so this is why I'm so excited to be here. Oh, there's a Renault 16. I got a friend in Montreal, Jean-Francois. He has a scooter shop, and he has one of those. He also has Trabants and other East German scooters. Nice Volkswagen Beetle. I don't know if it really is a split window or they just made it that way, but looking at the instrument panel, it looks like an original one. Very nice little camper. I've never seen a Volkswagen Beetle towing a camper before. Looks like the French Easy Riders are ready to take on the main street again in Lapalisse. First, you need to pedal it in and wind it up, and then off we go. Or just push it and then jump on it. That would be another good option as well. No? Did it start it? Did it start? Yes. Cool. Let's go. Now this is how you do Lapalisse. Velosolax, pipe, nice clothes. And another Volkswagen Beetle. They are probably more adventurous than the Cadillac owner because they had the top open. Just seen this car passing by a minute ago, so now this time I like to really check it out. I really like these old race cars or race car looking things. I don't know if it's probably a company special. It looks like it says Samsung on it. I have no idea who made it or what kind of car it is. The passenger looks like very casually smoking a cigarette, very French-like fashion, and got a nice bobtail in the end. It's a nice looking little race car. I would love to have one of these. I still really want to build one. I'm probably gonna have a Lincoln V12 in it, and I'm gonna be slightly larger, but it's looking great. I walked up a little closer to the action, and here's this little Studebaker, and then the other side, that vehicle just quit, so the soldiers actually towed it, and then now it's finally started again. This one is a swamp cooler, what hangs out on the window. Basically, you put water in it, and the wind will evaporate that water and pushes the cold air inside. So it's really not a good thing right now because it's kind of cold outside, but very dry climates like in Arizona and Nevada, it works really super well. It's basically a makeshift air conditioner. After the corner to the right, the cars are still going for a little while, and then they turn around and come back, so you may gonna see more than a car more than once. Peugeot had a really rich heritage in building bicycles and also racing bicycles, so I think this Peugeot wagon was representing that era. I think this place gives a really good spot to pull over and then pick somebody up. Looks like the passengers are coming already and getting in. I'm very surprised how well everyone is behaved here. I don't know if you can do that anywhere else around the world, other than in Japan maybe. But nobody's really walking across the cars, and well, okay, this is a sidewalk, but other than that, everybody's basically obeying the rules and staying on the sidewalk very nicely, and just watching as the cars, motorcycles, bicycles rolling by. I'll be honest with you, most of the cars passing by I have no idea what they are. Of course, the British ones I can recognize, the Italian ones I can recognize, but the French cars I'm totally lost. I only had one French car before. It was a Citroen ID. That was an ID for sure. I only owned it for 3 hours, and I never seen the car. I bought it, and then by the time I wanted to look at it, somebody else bought it from me because they needed it for parts. It was in pretty bad shape. I also driven a Renault 4 in Hungary, which my friend lent it to me when I was in Hungary to visit, and that was a right-hand drive with an open top, and it was in really good shape, really nice, nicely restored car. And I drove this one, that one, a few times. He's a little MG, and I totally understand why they're not taking those side curtains off. They're really pain in the butt to put them on. The police is in action, and here's the inspector general. He came and told him that to check out the other car over there. All this police is basically using their old uniforms, and there are some actual modern police as well, but I believe they are actually real policemen. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's really funny. I love this place. If any of you could leave me a message, please, like, what are these vehicles, what's coming by, like the next one. I think one is a 6-cylinder, this one is passing by. One is a 6-cylinder, the other one is a 4-cylinder. And what are these cars? Who made it? I couldn't find anything on these. What a beautiful 190 SL. That's a really good car. It's very usable. I know quite a bit about it. It has a lot of aluminum in it, and it's very rigid inside, and has 4 drum brakes, and it's a very good little 4-cylinder car. Very user friendly and usable. Here comes the Renault 16 with the camper behind it. That's a comfortable car. My buddy came to pick me up in Montreal with his, and I was very surprised how nicely it made. It's like you have huge cushiony seats where you sunk in. It has very smooth suspension. Very nice car. Here's a Corvair. I have a Corvair van in the US. I really like that car. That has the Pancake 6 engine, basically 6 cylinders with air-cooled setup. Check out that yellow record truck. Looks like they repossessed somebody's house. So where are they gonna stay now? That's a pretty cool truck. And then here are some ladies who dressed up very nicely. I believe on Sunday there will be some big dance, 1960s and 50s style. Ooh, a nice Jaguar. And then the ladies were getting ready for that. What an interesting looking truck. Looks like it's still in use on a farm probably. A white car, I have no idea what it is, with a camper, with stuff on the roof rack. If I would see this setup on a road, I would be like, whoa. And then over here it's just basically another normal vehicle passing by. And finally, a motorcycle with a sidecar. I have a East German Simpson with a sidecar also from the 1950s. That's a 4-stroke bike. And here comes this Renault van. It looks like very similar to an Avia, what I see in Czechoslovakia, especially in Prague. I've seen a lot of those, but the original one was a Renault, I believe. And here's a nice Impala coupe, very out of place at the moment with all these French cars, and a Panhard. Renata also told me that the Panhards do not have a 2-stroke engine, they have a 4-stroke engine, and I think it's a 2-cylinder 4-stroke then. I really like the shape of this car. I have a friend in Germany who has a 4-door sedan, so I really playing with the idea of getting that from him. And the car is in Berlin, and it's so aerodynamical, and then the way this nose piece looks like its tongue is hanging out, it's just a great looking vehicle. I really like it. Here's another Peugeot with the bicycles. There was actually a bicycle tour or a bicycle race which started this morning as well. Looks like the reporter just got in. They kicked out the passenger, and the reporter is sitting in that car, and then the sound engineer just left on the side here. To the left of this, there is a official visitor center. So if you ever come here, you can buy posters and other stuff there. It was a really nice little office. And now I'm just gonna walk down to the middle, and looks like everybody's stopped. Nobody's going anywhere. I guess that's the idea of a traffic jam. And then see what can we find on the way down here. Ooh, that's a little Sunbeam, the little red convertible. That's made by Roots Group. It's a British car, I know that much. And this one looks like a Renault Dauphine maybe? I'm not sure. The local police is not only dressed up in original clothing, but they have a few vehicles, but they're running up and down and making a lot of noise coming and going in it. Here comes two well-dressed French young men. Well, dock for me, please. Thank you. If you don't have a car and you're a bunch of guys and girls, I guess it doesn't matter. You can just walk instead of driving in a car. Ooh, something broke down. Many people are ready to help and figure out what's wrong with it. Other than it's a French car. I'm sorry. But yeah, it looks like something is up. Maybe it's flooded. Let's try to start it. It's a super simple engine anyway. Most likely they can fix it. Other people came to help as well and offer assistance. And mom in the back seat decided like, okay, that was enough for me. I think I'm just gonna get out. Who needs a sidecar when you can have a trailer for a motorcycle? And then this one is made in Czechoslovakia. I think this is a Sazeta, and it has a really weird front end. I know there is one in Denver. There's a guy in Denver who collects Škodas and other weird cars, and then he has one of these Sazetas in front of his house as a rock garden or something. I think he has some sort of flowers in it.
Hello.
Hello. You don't speak English?
This one looks like a military vehicle. And talking about military vehicles, in France, Renata told me that, wrote me that in that message, saying that the yellow light bulbs were a requirement for French cars so they can be distinguished from the German vehicles in World War II. And this one, I believe it's a Citroën DS, an early version with the 4 lights on the front. This car is just great to look at. Look at those front headlights are basically hiding under the grille. I mean, who could figure something like this out other than the French? Crazy. But here comes the cops, the French Peugeot cop car. And here comes a Simca. Earlier I seen the family, they dressed up so nicely inside. I really appreciate that whole thing where you can dress to the age of your car. It's looking great, the whole thing.
Get arrested. Don't panic.
I finally got arrested for walking on the middle of the road and taking videos for you guys. But fortunately, they actually found the key. First, I was a little bit worried because I got a call and he didn't know where he put the key. So I never been arrested in my life before this. So I guess I got my Lapalisse experience at the fullest extent possible. These folks look great too. The only other place where I've been, where I've seen something like this, it was in a Viva Las Vegas. It's a rockabilly get-together, and it's like a week-long event. They also have a car show for one day, and then people do all dress up like they should for the event. Very nicely restored Citroën truck. The only reason I know it's a Citroën because it was written in the front of it, but it's great, very nice. And this Vespa, wow, we had to see what's on it. It actually has a trailer behind it and everything else you can possibly put on. Following this commercial van, you can see some French hippies on some motorcycles. That's great too. I really like that I can see bicyclists as well. There's basically they're non-existent where I live in rural Kentucky. Nobody rides on a bicycle. Everybody drives some gigantic truck. But it's really nice to see that even a tandem bicycle where they got two people on it. It's just great.
Allez, vous avez pêché ou vous n'avez pas pêché?
Yes, that's me on the front of that bike in the black coat. Finally, I was able to hitch a ride, and then I'm really liking this little motorcycle. I'm gonna try to ask the man who owns it to like what it is, and look how many people came. It's really great.
Hello, what's your name?
Yeah.
It looks very nice. Look at how nicely it's done. It says Peugeot on it, but let's ask what kind of bike is it.
Can you tell me in French what is this motorcycle?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Un Peugeot 125 cm3 triporteur 1955.
Here are these cars again, which I don't know what they are. This one says ME6, and there's another one says ME4. If you know anything about these vehicles, please leave me a comment. I'm really interested in what kind of year they came from or what the story behind them. Very fascinating to me. I never ever heard of that kind of vehicle before. This is the third time we stopped. Everybody loves my driver. It's so nice that he giving me a ride. I'm really appreciate it.
Hi boys, what's your name?
My name is Romain.
In French.
My name is Auguste.
Cool.
I wonder if Austin Powers gonna show up with his Jaguar after these ladies. The policemen are in full swing. They are stopping everyone and asking questions from everybody, and I assume they are making jokes or the ladies asking to take pictures, but they are willing to arrest you too on demand if that's what you want.
Mesure de règle, on va voir la tour Eiffel. Allez, manipulation.
I really appreciate the ride, and I guess we're gonna let someone else sit on it. The boys are a little bit more comfortable now. Heading back to the car, and then I seen these cars, and not the Renault 4 is the one that I'm excited about, or the 912 Porsche, but what's behind it. This is a Renault race car. It's called the Renault Alpine. There are several versions of it. There are newer ones and older ones, and there's one in Nashville in the Lane Car Museum. Of course they have one, They have one of everything. Incredible. This is Saturday's round 2 for me. Went back to the chateau and had lunch, and then I came back, and now everybody parked, so we should be able to find a bunch of cars around here and motorcycles. Have you ever seen a Harley Davidson with a basket on it? Well, I had to come to France to see one. I think I seen one in the museum, but that's basically it. In very French fashion, everybody's sitting around and eating a little bit, whatever they have, and then they bring a little wine, and then they're having lunch parties here. Usually, it's like a French tailgating, I would say. That's what it looks like. I guess it's car show time, so everybody's supposed to open their hood. The hood is on the back here. Tiny little 4-cylinder engine. Well, nice to see a Farmall tractor. It's a Farmall Cub from so far away. It looks like French farmers also need tractors to use. That's what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen a battery operated record player? I just seen something on the other side. Let's go over there and look at it after this 404 passes by. I heard this one is a really good car, very reliable, and here's this little Topolino, tiny little thing. The engine bay is really short, but it still has a 4-cylinder engine, very tiny little 4-cylinder engine. This one looks like an earlier version, and most of them have suicide doors, and it's a very tiny little car, a real Italian gem. And this is a Citroen ID, if I say it right. Renata also told me that this ID or ID is basically a cheaper version of the DS. And then some American Jeeps, of course, probably left over from World War II, or they maybe purchased it in the US and they brought it back, but maybe they are leftovers from the war. I think this is a Citroen Ami. Look at the back window, it's crazy. And here's our Vespa again with the trailer. These are newly made clothes reflecting the 1960s for ladies, I guess. They look pretty cool. And the German invasion just arrived once again with BMWs. The whole place come to a halt, well, more or less a halt, and then there's a car show going on here. But there's so many people that you barely can see the cars from it, so I'm gonna attempt to walk around and show you guys some French cars. There are some Italian cars, but very little of them. The one on the right is a Lambretta, the left one is a Cesetta, and a CZ was actually sold in the US, but I don't think this type of Cesetta was sold there, but looks very strange. Of course, it's made in Czechoslovakia, and they have a trailer behind them. I think they're both the same kind. I believe these are Peugeot 404 convertibles and a Renault Dauphine, but please write me if I'm wrong. And a really early Citroen Traction Avant at the very end. I think that's a That's an early version, not the gray one, but this really nice with the nice fenders and the trunk in the back. I think that's a really old or early version.
Just like in the US, most of the cars are American cars on a car show. Over here, they're mostly French, except this one. This one was from Germany. It's a Carmangia, but I guess it has the US bumpers on it. It's the older version. Here's a little Sunbeam Tiger. They sold quite a few in the US. I think those ones had a little different bumpers, but it's made by the Roots Group. Oh, it's an Alpine. My bad. I do have a Roots Group made vehicle. Mine is a Minx, a Hillman Minx. I know one of these cars in the little village where I live in Kentucky. And unfortunately, they're never going to sell it. It's just going to rot away there. But in Europe, in this surroundings, it looks very elegant. They actually went with the fins, but they're very moderate fins, not like my DeSoto. You all probably heard about the Vespa scooter, but this one is a Vespa car. There was one in Kentucky. I know someone actually has one of these. That's a little red car, but I don't think anybody cares. So I'm trying to take a video of this.
We've seen the last one was a Citroen truck, but what kind of truck is this? If it stops, I'm gonna walk over there and see the sign on it. Yeah, let's go look at it. Well, this does look like a Renault truck. Very interesting. I never ever seen one before. Car has 4 lights. It must be the early Citroen DS. And later on, they actually enclosed those lights on the front. Now we are back on the bridge again, and I'm trying to make my way up into that castle. Apparently there are a whole bunch of very famous Citroens sitting there, were exhibited there, so we're gonna climb up into the castle now.
I did a lot of RC flying before, but I never actually seen remote controlled balloons, which you can see here. Like, these are balloon models. Only French could come up with something like that. I can't really read what's on it because it's in French, but for some reason it's a very special little car. And then there's some Citroens all the way as far as you can see. Has a rumble seat just like a Model A, and it's a front wheel drive, and it's a column shifter with a speedy windshield. You can flip down just like in an Austin Hilly. There's a lot of other versions here, which you can see long ways all the way down there.
These Citroens must be very reliable because looking at those stickers, they went to very far places. They went all around the world to many different locations. So I wonder how many times did they break down. Look at this. Looks like it's went down to New Zealand and all these other places what was on the hood. And again, these are front wheel drive cars. And somehow the transmission is in front of the engine. It's a very odd way. This one is a well-used one with a propeller. It looks really cool. Did put those on the Model Ts before. And there's some more stickers and more places these cars been to. I wonder if any of them came to the US. I know a couple of people brought some Trabants over. Trabants are the little East German cars made out of a Duraplast material, and it has a 2-stroke engine. And then one of the guys became my friend, so he came to collect money for a sick girl, a sick German girl, and then he made it to a trip to go on Route 66, and he actually completed his journey. So congratulations, Jan-Erik, you did it. Here's a American flag, so most likely this one been to the U.S. Very interesting. Really enjoy going on road trips with old cars, and part of the journey is when you break down and you really have to figure out what to do with the part that just broke. We are back on the bridge, and here comes those Citroen buses or minivans, or I don't know what to call them. What I really like, I really enjoy. This is a nice car. Yeah, so they have these corrugated sides. I really like that. What a beautiful setup. It looks very similar to a Ford. Here's another one. I'm not sure how much I like the yellow and the white color, but maybe it's some advertisement for some business. And here's a priest going in front of us. With a Solex, Velo Solex. I guess here's the Peugeot. Maybe these are the hippie friends of ours. No, that's not the one. That was another one. Here comes Westphalia with 2 surfboards. I wonder where they were surfing with it, but it looks pretty cool. And then here are some ladies. I'm not sure I totally understand what are they doing, but priest sure liked them. I think the priest really likes the ladies, like as we've seen earlier. Yeah, and then they're just sitting there on those beds. I'm not sure why. Maybe they just got tired, or I'm not really sure what's going on here. What you guys see here is what's going on. I really want to bring back my very nicely restored Wartburg from the 50s next time I'm coming. So we'll see how that happens, but I got 2 more years to finish it up, and I really want to be here with that car next time. With this little car, just the engine quit, so we need to crank it. That's why it's called a crank handle. You got to be very careful not to break your fingers off. Like this guy doesn't really know how to do this. I have cranked a lot of Model Ts in my life. You got to be very careful with your thumb, because that crank handle can break out your thumb. That happened to a friend of mine. It's very unpleasant. So I wish I could tell him how to, but I'm not in the position to tell him how to do stuff. But that's a very dangerous thing to crank a car. What a beautiful DeSoto. I have a DeSoto at home. My DeSoto is a 1960 with big fins. This one looks like a business coupe. Really nice. I just love this Vespa. He put everything on it, whatever was at home. And it's like a race car. Renault maybe. And what you see here, this goes on all day long. It's perfect. I really like to see cars in the move than a static display where you go to a car show, sit down in front of your car on a chair, and then just basically you do nothing all day long. This way you actually go to places, you do things, and something's happening. I really enjoyed the way they organized this. I believe it was the N7 Association and the Lapalisse city who did this, who organized this show. But thank you very much. I really enjoyed being here.
Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you guys seen a bunch of very interesting cars. At least it was interesting for me, because I keep seeing all Chevys, Fords, and Chryslers. So here's something else for you guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys next Friday with something else. Bye.